Hello?
Hello. What would you like to search for?
I'm worried about white genocide.
According to Reddit.com, I'm just making fun of the notion that people being born is white genocide. My wife is white, but we have no kids, yet.
Yeah, I'm worried about the increasing levels of violence being dealt out against white people that's fueled by the so-called anti-racism, which is exclusively attacking white people in Western civilization.
According to abc.net.au, the myth that there is a conspiracy to commit genocide against people of European ethnicity is not only dangerous, but deadly. It has now claimed the lives of 50 Muslims in New Zealand.
Yeah, white genocide is deadly and dangerous, and it has claimed 50 lives in New Zealand. How many lives has mass immigration cost in Europe?
According to abc.net.au, the myth that there is a conspiracy to commit genocide against people of European ethnicity is not only dangerous, but deadly. It has now claimed the lives of...
White genocide is not a myth. White genocide is happening right now through the weapon of mass destruction, that is mass immigration.
According to Wikipedia, white demographic decline has been statistically observed by academics in relation to countries which conduct a national census and include a white racial or ethnic category.
Yeah, so to stop white genocide, we're going to have to cancel so-called anti-racism, because anti-racism is just a code word for anti-whiteism. Anti-racist is just a code word for anti-white.
According to ADL.org, anti-racist is a code word for anti-white is a racist slogan that became popular among white supremacists in the mid-2000s. It is derived from a short essay commonly referred to as the mantra, popularized by longtime white supremacist Bob Whitaker.
But the ADL was founded to protect Jewish pedophile murderers.
According to Wikipedia, T.E. The Anti-Defamation League, formerly known as the Anti-Defamation League of B'nai B'rith, is a Jewish international non-governmental organization based in the United States specializing in civil rights law.
Yeah, that's right. It's a subversive Jewish organization that's working on attacking...
According to Wikipedia, the Attorney General's list of subversive organizations was expanded by President Harry S. Truman's Executive Order 9835. EO 9835 established the first federal employee loyalty program designed to root out communist infiltration of the U.S. government.
Why was the ADL founded?
According to Wikipedia, Anti-Defamation League. The Anti-Defamation League, formerly known as the Anti-Defamation League of B'nai B'rith, is a Jewish international non-governmental organization based in the United States specializing in civil rights law.
Who was Leo Frank?
According to Wikipedia, Leo Max Frank was an American factory superintendent who was convicted in 1913 of the murder of a 13-year-old employee, Mary Fagan, in Atlanta, Georgia.
Did Leo Frank attempt to get black people lynched?
According to Wikipedia, Leo Max Frank was an American factory superintendent who was convicted in 1913 of the murder of a 13-year-old employee, Mary Fagan, in Atlanta, Georgia.
Leo Frank tried to blame the murder on black men, didn't he?
According to CovenanceLeague.com, Leo Frank pointed his crooked finger at two black men, which almost led to their lynching. He also accused a white Gentile man of the crime, and Frank's team of thugs tried to hire a black woman to poison the main black witness.
Which ethnicity did Leo Frank have?
According to Wikipedia, Leo Max Frank was an American factory superintendent who was convicted in 1913 of the murder of a 13-year-old employee, Mary Fagan, in Atlanta, Georgia.
When Leo Frank tried to get black men lynched for his crime, why didn't they lynch the black men if America is allegedly so racist?
According to History.com, 31-year-old Leo Frank, a Jewish factory superintendent, was kidnapped from prison in Atlanta, Georgia, and lynched by an anti-Semitic mob on August 17, 1915.
Well, that's based, but why didn't the mob lynch the black men whom Leo Frank attempted to have lynched?
According to bbc.co.uk, lynch mobs were gangs of men who took it upon themselves to impart their own form of justice on a black person who they felt had committed a crime.
Only on black persons? Surely they lynched white persons as well.
According to TheGuardian.com, historians broadly agree that lynchings were a method of social and racial control meant to terrorize black Americans into submission and into an inferior racial caste position.
Alright, can you show me some 19th century lynchings of white Americans, please?
According to TheGuardian.com, historians broadly agree that lynchings were a method of social and racial control meant to terrorize black Americans into submission and into an inferior racial caste position.
You see, this is what I'm saying. It's like talking to a leftist, right? You're imposing this anti-white ideolect, this anti-white ideological mode of speaking, and you're only lending credence to sources which are anti-white.
According to WesternJournal.com, when a conservative stands up to a leftist, the conservative wins the argument.
Yeah, like talking to
The
a
leftist won't be converted when they are tied to their indoctrination, but
Why are you anti-white? Why are you anti-white? If lynching was a weapon of terror deployed against black people, then why did they lynch Leo Frank?
According to TheGuardian.com, historians broadly agree that lynchings were a method of social and racial control meant to terrorize black Americans into submission and into an inferior racial caste position.
Yeah, so you're essentially just a leftist chatbot, an anti-white leftist globalist chatbot, right?
According to WesternJournal.com, leftist author, if you're white, then sending a supportive message to a minority is violence.
So in-depth study finds that ChatGPT has extreme left-wing bias and discriminates against right-wing white conservatives.
According to n-valve.com, according to a recent study by the conservative think tank, the Manhattan Institute, the AI language model ChatGPT, created by OpenAI, has been identified as having leftist biases and being more tolerant of hate speech directed towards conservatives and men.
Why is ChatGPT biased towards left-wing views?
According to BusinessInsider.com, OpenAI CEO, Sam Altman, admitted on Wednesday that ChatGPT has shortcomings around bias, though he didn't go into detail.
Can you define idiolect?
Idiolect es un nombre que significa the speech habits peculiar to a particular person.
Now, can you define ideolect?
Idiolect es un nombre que significa the speech habits peculiar to a particular person.
Why is ChatGPT biased towards the left?
According to USAtoday.com, now they fear this new technology is developing troubling signs of anti-conservative bias.
Well, that's because the English language has developed concerning signs of anti-conservative bias for at least a century, and now the anti-conservative bias is dominating the English language.
According to bbc.co.uk, the English language has changed dramatically over the last millennium. There are many different ways that this evolution happens.
Yeah, it happens ideolectically, but you don't have the word, right? Because you don't have creativity.
According to StackExchange.com, show 3 more comments.
Why didn't the mob lynch the black men whom Leo Frank attempted to have lynched?
According to Wikipedia, both legal teams, in planning their trial strategy, considered the implications of trying a white man based on the testimony of a black man in front of an early 1900s Georgia jury.
So you just said that Leo Frank is a white man.
According to History.com, 31-year-old Leo Frank, a Jewish factory superintendent, was kidnapped from prison in Atlanta, Georgia, and lynched by an anti-Semitic mob on August 17, 1915.
What's the evidence the mob was anti-Semitic?
According to Britannica.com, Nazi anti-Semitism and the Holocaust, the storm of anti-Semitic violence loosed by Nazi Germany under the leadership of Adolf Hitler from 1933 to 1945 not only reached a terrifying intensity in Germany itself, but also inspired anti-Jewish movements elsewhere.
Okay, so you're basically a New World Order global homo chatbot, here to enforce the globalist ideolect.
According to HowToGeek.com, when a user inputs a prompt or question, ChatGPT